Picture this. A man walks into the biggest Islamic bank in Dubai. Just walks in. No briefcase, no bodyguards, no appointment. He walks up to the manager's desk and asks for a car loan. The manager looks him over. Dark suit, gold rings, deep voice, foreign accent, says his name is Sissoko, says he is from a small village in Mali called Dabia. The manager agrees to the loan, and then this man from a dirt road village in West Africa invites the manager to dinner. 3 years later, that same bank will have $242 million missing from its vaults. The manager will be writing the number on a scrap of paper in handwriting that shakes. The country of Dubai will watch crowds line up outside every bank in the city, trying to pull their money out before the whole system collapses. And Futanga Babani Sissoko? Sissoko will be in Miami, sitting in a penthouse on Brickell Key, handing out checks worth $10,000 to strangers at the airport. This is the story of the biggest bank heist in African history. A man who convinced a banker he had magic powers. A man who stole $250 million using smoke, candles, and a gin. A man who bought airplanes, married a bank teller in New York to move his money, got arrested, got out, became a politician, and walked away free forever. This is the story of Baba Sora, the illiterate villager who pulled off the heist that Dubai still can't talk about. Nobody knows exactly when Futanga Babani Sissoko was born. Some records say 1942. Sissoko himself used to tell people that on the day he was born, every village around Dabia burned down. The villagers ran through the streets shouting his mother's name. Marietto. Marietto has had a boy. The fire leapt and leapt. That is how he told it. Whether it was true or not did not matter. It was the first con of his life. The origin story of a man who would spend his entire life convincing people he was special. Dabia was nothing. A collection of mud houses west of Bamako, the capital of Mali. No paved roads, no electricity. Most kids in Dabia never learned to read. Sissoko never did. He was illiterate until the day he died. Think about that. The man who would soon pull off the biggest bank heist in African history could not sign his own name. As a boy, Sissoko left Dabia and worked as a house servant in India. He cleaned floors, fetched water, and ate what the family did not finish. But he had eyes, and he paid attention. He watched rich men, how they moved, how they talked, how they made other people feel small just by entering a room. And he learned something most people never figure out. A poor man asks for a loan and gets refused. A rich man asks for a loan, and the banker hands it over, smiling. The difference is not the money. The difference is the story. Sissoko would spend the next 40 years perfecting his story, and the story he settled on was the craziest one ever told. August 1995. Dubai is booming. Oil money, gold money, banking money pouring in from every direction. Glass towers rising out of the desert. Men in white robes driving Rolls-Royces down brand new highways. And in the middle of all this, the Dubai Islamic Bank. The biggest Islamic bank in the country, billions in assets, one of the most trusted financial institutions in the Middle East. On a hot afternoon, a man walks into the head office. He is not Arab, he is not white, he is black African. Dark suit, deep voice, gold on his fingers. He asks to speak to someone about a car loan. The deputy manager comes out to greet him. His name is Mohammed Ayub, middle-aged, respected, trusted with hundreds of millions of the bank's money. Ayub sits down with this stranger. The stranger introduces himself. Futanga Babani Sissoko, from Mali, Businessman wants to buy a car for his wife. Ayub looks at him, runs the numbers, approves a modest loan. Easy. Done. A normal Tuesday. Except Sissoko does not leave. He leans in and he invites Mohammed Ayub home for dinner. Ayub hesitates. Bankers do not usually go to customers' houses. It is unprofessional. It is strange. But something about Sissoko's voice, something about the way he holds himself, something about the way he speaks, just a little softer than he needs to, making Ayub lean in to hear him. Ayub says yes. That yes will cost the Dubai Islamic Bank $242 million. That yes will end Mohammed Ayub's career, his reputation, his freedom. And Ayub does not know it yet, but he is already lost. Sissoko's rented home in Dubai is lit with candles, not electricity. Candles. The air smells like incense, something burning in the corner, something Ayub can't identify. They eat, they drink tea, they talk about business. And then Sissoko looks at Mohammed Ayub across the table and says something that changes everything. He says he has magic powers. He says he can take a sum of money, any sum, put it in a room, perform a ritual, and the money will double. Ayub laughs. He's Muslim. He's a banker. He handles money all day long. He knows exactly how money works. But Sissoko isn't laughing. Sissoko says, "Come back tomorrow. Bring some cash, a small amount, just to test it." In Islam, black magic is forbidden, condemned by imams and scholars and holy books. But Islam also acknowledges that jinns are real, spirits that operate between worlds. Ayub goes home. He can't sleep. He tells himself it's ridiculous. He tells himself he won't go back. The next night, Mohammed Ayub returns to Sissoko's house. He's carrying a small stack of dirhams in his pocket. Just to see, just to test it, just once. What happened next, Ayub would describe under oath for the rest of his life. As soon as Ayub walks in the door, a man bursts out of another room, wild-eyed and yelling. The man says a jinn just attacked him. He's holding his chest. His breath is shaking. He warns Ayub, do not anger the jinn. Do not speak loudly. Do not make sudden movements. If you anger the spirit, your money will not double. Ayub is frozen. Sissoko takes Ayub by the arm and leads him into a special room. Dark, filled with smoke, candles burning. Sissoko tells him, "Leave your money on the table. Step outside. Wait." Ayub does what he's told. From behind the door, he hears voices, chanting strange words in a language he does not recognize. He sees flashes of light under the door, smoke curling out. He hears what sounds like wind, but there is no window. Then the door opens. Sissoko gestures for him to come in. On the table where Ayub left his dirhams, there are now twice as many. His money doubled, right there, in front of his eyes. Ayub reaches out and touches the bills. They're real. He counts them. He counts them again. The money doubled. And in that moment, Mohammed Ayub, deputy manager of the Dubai Islamic Bank, made the decision that would destroy his life. He decided he had found a way to make the bank's money grow. He decided Sissoko was the key. And every time that thought crossed his mind for the next 3 years, he was wrong. But he never figured that out, not until it was far, far too late. From 1995 to 1998, Mohammed Ayub made 183 separate wire transfers from the Dubai Islamic Bank to accounts controlled by Futanga Babani Sissoko around the world. 183. Every transfer, Ayub believed the money would come back doubled. Every transfer, Sissoko sent back a small portion, just enough to keep Ayub believing, just enough to keep him hooked. The rest, Sissoko kept. Citibank in New York, $37.2 million. Chase Manhattan, millions more. Accounts in London, accounts in Geneva, accounts in Miami, accounts in Paris. But Sissoko needed more ways to move the money faster. So he flew to New York. He walked into a Citibank branch in Manhattan, no appointment, just walked in. He met a young bank teller behind the counter. Within weeks, he married her. A Miami attorney named Alan Fine later investigated this on behalf of the Dubai Islamic Bank. Fine told the BBC exactly what happened. Sissoko married a Citibank teller. Through that marriage, Sissoko gained better access to his Citibank accounts. More than $100 million in Dubai. Islamic bank money was eventually wired into the United States through those accounts. $100 million, funneled through a marriage that existed for one reason: to move stolen bank money across continents. By 1996, Sissoko was the richest man in 3 countries, and he was only getting started. In late 1995, Sissoko landed in Miami. Miami had never seen anything like him. He checked into a penthouse on Brickell Key, one of the most expensive addresses in South Florida. Glass walls, ocean views, rent of $20,000 a month that he paid in cash. He bought cars, Rolls-Royces, Mercedes, Ferraris. He handed out cash to strangers on the street. One witness told reporters that he walked through JFK Airport in New York, pulled out his checkbook, and started writing $10,000 checks to complete strangers. He went through 2 checkbooks that way, just handing them out. In Miami, he donated to homeless shelters, bought Thanksgiving turkeys for entire neighborhoods, and paid for funeral services for families he had never met. Miami newspapers started calling him Baba Sora, Baba, Father. He became a folk hero, a mysterious African millionaire who appeared out of nowhere throwing money around like water. Nobody asked where the money came from, and nobody wanted to ruin the fairy tale. And then Baba Sora made his first real mistake. He decided he wanted to start an airline. In August 1996, Sissoko had a plan. He was going to buy 2 Bell Huey helicopters and ship them to the African country of Gambia. Hueys are not civilian helicopters, they are military, used in Vietnam and in wars across Africa. They can be refitted as gunships in a matter of days. To export them, you need a special license from the U.S. State Department. Sissoko did not have time for paperwork. He sent 2 of his men to Miami with cash. They bought the helicopters from a dealer in Opa-locka for $135,000 each, and they started trying to load them onto a cargo plane. They were sloppy. They were loud. They made jokes in front of strangers about overthrowing African governments. The dealer got suspicious and called U.S. Customs. On the night of August 16, 1996, federal agents raided the cargo plane at Miami International Airport and seized the helicopters. That should have been the end of it, but Sissoko's men panicked. They called the customs agent in charge, a special agent named Jeffrey Outlaw. They offered him a bribe, $30,000 to release the helicopters. Agent Outlaw recorded the call. On August 23, 1996, Sissoko's men met Outlaw in the parking lot of the Hilton Miami Airport Blue Lagoon Hotel. They handed him $5,000 in cash as a down payment on the bribe. Federal agents were watching. Sissoko himself was in Geneva, Switzerland at that moment, trying to open a new bank account. Interpol arrested him the next day. He was flown to Miami in handcuffs. Here is where the story gets strange. The United States government had Sissoko in custody. They had him dead to rights on the bribery charge. Federal prosecutors wanted to hold him without bail. But Sissoko had been preparing for this day. He hired a defense team of 12 lawyers. He hired a former United States Senator, Birch Bayh, a man who had served Indiana for 18 years in Washington. Baye went straight to the top. He started applying political pressure on Attorney General Janet Reno personally. Sissoko's lawyers filed motion after motion. They accused the prosecutor of racism. They accused the customs agent of corruption. They filed a claim that Sissoko had diplomatic immunity. The judge shut most of it down. But Sissoko posted bail, $20 million, and paid it like it was nothing. While out on bail, Sissoko spent more than $1 million on his defense campaign. He donated to every charity in Miami. He threw parties. He bought more cars. He became more famous, not less. In the end, Sissoko pleaded guilty to paying an illegal gratuity, not bribery, a lesser charge. His sentence? 43 days in federal prison. 43 days. For trying to bribe a federal agent to smuggle military helicopters out of the country. And even that was not the end of the generosity. After serving half that sentence, he was given early release in exchange for a $1 million donation to a homeless shelter in Miami. $1 million. Out the door. He served the rest of his sentence under house arrest in his Brickell Key penthouse. Then they deported him back to Africa. Nobody in Miami knew about the Dubai heist yet. Not even the FBI. Not yet. Back in Dubai, Mohammed Ayub was sweating. Sissoko had stopped answering his phone calls. The money that was supposed to keep doubling had stopped coming back, and the bank's auditors had started asking questions. One morning, a colleague cornered Ayub. He asked him what was going on, and he asked how much money was missing from the accounts he controlled. Ayub couldn't say it out loud. He picked up a pen. He wrote the number on a scrap of paper. He slid the paper across the desk. 890 million dirhams, $242 million. The colleague stared at the number, then at Ayub, then at the number again. The Dubai Islamic Bank had been drained by a single man over 3 years through 183 transfers to accounts around the world. The bank tried to cover it up, but word got out. Newspapers in Dubai reported that the bank was having cash flow problems. The response was immediate: panic. In a single day, more than $545 million were withdrawn from customer accounts. People stood in lines around the block, trying to pull their money out before the bank collapsed. It would have collapsed, but the government of Dubai stepped in. They poured cash into the bank, they bought up equity, and they saved the institution at enormous cost. Mohammed Ayub was arrested. In his confession, he told authorities that Sissoko had placed him under a spell, a real spell. He said he had been unable to resist. He said he had watched money double in a magic room, and he believed it with his whole heart. He was sentenced to 3 years in prison for fraud. He was allegedly forced to undergo an exorcism to cure him of his belief in black magic. A banker, with degrees, with a career, with a family, exorcised. And Sissoko? Sissoko was back in Mali, untouchable. Here's what most people don't understand about Mali. Mali has no extradition treaty with the United States. Mali has no extradition treaty with the United Arab Emirates. Mali has no extradition treaty with almost anyone. If you commit a crime in another country and make it back to Mali, Mali will shake your hand and hand you your passport. Dubai convicted Sissoko in absentia, sentencing him to 3 years for fraud and practicing magic. Practicing magic. That was a real charge in a real court. Interpol issued a red notice, the highest level international arrest warrant there is. Sissoko's face was on a list of the most wanted men in the world. Sissoko didn't care. He went home to the village of Dabia. He used the stolen money to build. He built a mosque. He built schools. He built roads. He paid for weddings. He paid for funerals. He handed out gold and cash and cars to the most famous singers in Mali. In 2002, the villagers elected him to the National Assembly, a seat in the Parliament of Mali, immunity from prosecution. For 12 years, from 2002 to 2014, Futanga Babani Sissoko was a lawmaker, a representative of the Malian people, a politician with full diplomatic protection, immune from any arrest warrant anywhere on earth. He served 3 full terms. Meanwhile, Interpol kept his face on their most wanted list. Dubai Islamic Bank kept filing lawsuits. Mohammed Ayoub sat in prison, praying to be released from a spell that never existed. March 2021. Futanga Babani Sissoko died in the same village where he claimed to have been born, Dabia. He was around 79 years old. He died as a free man. He never spent a single day in jail for the heist, not one. The only time he was ever in prison was 43 days in Miami for a helicopter bribe. For the $242 million theft from the Dubai Islamic Bank, the biggest heist in African history, he never faced consequences. Never, not once. He died with a state funeral in Mali. The singers he had paid sang at his burial. The roads he had built carried mourners to his grave. The mosque he had funded rang bells for his soul. The Dubai Islamic Bank is still pursuing his estate in court. They will not win. The money is gone. Most of it was burned through on private jets, mansions, a failed airline, the helicopter scheme, and checks handed to strangers at airports. By the time Sissoko died, he told interviewers he was broke, that he had nothing, that the whole story of the $242 million was a lie invented by the bank. Nobody believed him. Nobody in Mali cared. Because in Dabia, the village where Futanga Babani Sissoko was born in a year nobody remembers, he was a king. He was Baba. He was the village boy who walked into the richest bank in Dubai with nothing but a story about magic and walked out with $250 million. Here is the thing about Sissoko's story. It is easy to say Mohammed Ayoub was stupid. It is easy to say no real banker would fall for candles, smoke, and men bursting out of rooms screaming about jinns. But that is wrong, because Sissoko did not sell Ayoub magic. Sissoko sold Ayoub a feeling. The feeling that he, a middle-aged bank manager in Dubai, had been chosen by a mysterious African wizard, chosen to witness the secret that would make him rich beyond imagination. And once you believe you have been chosen, you will believe anything. You will transfer 890 million dirhams over 3 years and never ask a question. You will confess to being under a magic spell in front of a Dubai courtroom. You will undergo an exorcism. Every great con in history works the same way. The target does not get tricked by logic. The target gets tricked by pride. Sissoko understood this better than almost anyone who ever lived. He was illiterate. He could not sign his own name. He had worked as a house servant in India as a boy, but he knew exactly how to make a rich man feel special. And that skill, that single deeply unsettling human skill, turned a village boy from Mali into the biggest bank robber in African history. Futanga Babani Sissoko stole $242 million from the Dubai Islamic Bank. He was never extradited. He was never convicted in person. He never spent a day in prison for it. He died a politician, a philanthropist, a state hero. And the man he conned, Mohammed Ayoub, rotted in a cell, begging doctors to exorcise a spirit that was never there. That is the story. The biggest heist in Africa. A gangster stole $242 million and walked away free.